Hey, movie fans. The first thing I want to talk about is the whole Jonathan Majors situation. The reason I haven't talked about all this news with him is because there's nothing right now that says he's guilty or innocent right now. I know people are ready to like bin out the horses when it comes to hearing something bad about an actor and ready to burn them down and just automatically assume based on articles online that contradict each other when there's been no clear evidence that shows he's innocent or guilty at this point. And for people saying Loki season 2 is a big fail of Disney's part, they shot that before all this stuff came out, before all this happened. That's something people need to remember. And also, there's thousands of other people who work on Loki season 2 and worked on, and who's going to be working on the upcoming Avengers movies. It's not their fault. It's not Disney's fault if he did abuse this woman. So I think people need to also remember that thing too, and also, I know there's been talk with saying other women have come forward. We haven't heard what they said, and them coming forward doesn't prove that he's guilty or innocent yet. So I know he has a court date in May. That's when you're gonna find out. And I know his lawyer said he had video evidence and tests that show John's man is innocent. Well, that could go either way because we haven't seen none of us have seen the video. None of us were there. We haven't seen the test either. So we don't know what the context of the situation is. I think we as just fans need to calm down at times and stop like passing judgment on when we hear something bad about an actor before we actually have like clear cut evidence that tells you that he's guilty or innocent. And look, honestly, if he is guilty, I think Disney's going to recast him. I think it's smart that I know his PR and his management team have dropped him. I know he put himself out of a film project recently, but I think it's smart that Disney is sticking with him right now until they probably hear in May what if he's guilty or innocent. Because at this point, we as fans and people don't know. We have not seen the video. We have not seen the tests. We weren't there. So I just think, like I said, we as fans need to calm down. You know, I do feel bad for the cast of season 2 of Loki and the crew. I feel bad for the people who are going to be working on the upcoming Avengers movies because he's a big villain in this multiverse saga, and it's not Disney's fault that if he is guilty that he did this stuff. They can't control the actors on like can't you can't control actors on what they do in their personal lives. So it just we as fans as people, I think we need to sometimes like just chill and relax a little bit right now and wait to see what happens. Like, so that's the reason why I haven't talked about this topic with Jonathan Majors because there's nothing right now to say he's guilty or innocent at this point right now. I'll probably put out a video and in one of my movie topics where if the court date in May, if he gets proven to be guilty, I'll talk about my opinion on that. If he gets proven to be innocent, I'll talk about my opinion on that. Right now, there's just not really a lot there's not really anything to go on. There's information out there. There's no concrete evidence to suggest either way. So that's my thoughts on the whole Jonathan Majors and why I haven't talked about it. The next thing I want to talk about is I saw Evil Dead Rise, an early press screening of it with my buddy Justin. Like I say, this is my favorite horror movie so far this year. I think Evil Dead fans are gonna love it. I think horror fans are gonna really enjoy it too. And this movie's only like an hour 35, somewhere around there, like an hour 30 something. This movie does a great job where it's like short, but you get enough of the story and characters. Like I love the characters in this. The actress who plays the mom of the family in this movie, oh, she is fantastic when she turns into a deadite. She's really good at playing creepy, and this movie has some. And also the actress who plays the sister, I loved her character. I would put up there with Ass as one of my favorite horror main characters in the horror franchise. I thought the director did a great job in this movie. It's bloody, gory. This movie is also creepy. Like it's just there's some parts of the movie you really get creeped out by this movie. So, and it's definitely gory enough. And I think if you're not an Evil Dead fan, you can go into this blind because there's no Bruce Campbell cameo at the end, so this felt like a reboot to me. This felt like a fresh start. And also, I love the fact it doesn't take place in the cabin. As much as I love the cabin, we had like 3 of the 4 movies take place in that, and even the show went back to it. I was kind of like, okay, good, we can move on from the cabin. It's like cool setting, but you've done 3 of the 4 movies in that. One reason why I loved Army of Darkness was because it was the whole setting was different, and I love they changed up the setting in this too. And honestly, the only negative I have about this is that the opening. So I think there's a cool. I like how the end of the opening, with how it ties into the title of the movie. I thought that was a cool visual thing. But there's a completely different set of characters you meet at the opening, and then it ties around back to the end, and the they're the ones I didn't really care about. And I think, and it does a whole 1 day earlier, so I think you probably could have. I think you probably could have maybe cut that out. I mean, it does leave it. It does leave it open at the end where I think you definitely could do another Evil Dead movie, and I'd love to see this director back. But I think you probably could have cut that part out. But that's like a nitpick because at the end of the day, I love this movie. I would definitely recommend people seeing it. If you're an Evil Dead fan, definitely recommend this. And for me, I would put it up there with the original trilogy Evil Dead when it comes to Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I would say the last Evil Dead movie, 2000, I think came out in 2013. That was probably my least favorite. It was fun, but I cared more about the characters in this than I did in the characters in the last movie. And also, this movie, I feel like it felt believable when they were getting like hurt. Like it didn't feel like it went too over the top. I was like, oh, you didn't have that like character from the last movie, the guy with long hair. He just kept getting like stabbed and everything else to it, like in his body, and you're like, really, he just kept getting back up and surviving. So I just think this movie was fantastic. This was a great movie in the franchise, and for me, my favorite horror movie so far. So I definitely recommend people go out and see this movie. The next thing I want to talk about is Scarlett Johansson and the actress who played Pepper Potts, saying they're probably done playing their characters. I think most likely that is. I think most likely you won't see Scarlett Johansson back as Black Widow. I mean, she died in Endgame. They did the solo movie. Which I admit I love the solo movie a lot more than other people did. But I thought she had a great death in Endgame. And yeah, you could bring her back in multiple sagas, an alternate version, and I don't think it's impossible that she would come back someday. But I do understand why she would be done, because he also had the whole chain pack when he was in charge, the whole situation with Black Widow from being on Disney Plus, and I wouldn't be shocked at that, even though they settled that and they paid her, that maybe it left kind of like a bad taste in her mouth. So, I mean, I don't think she'll be back. When it comes to actually play Pepper Potts, I think someday she could be back as that Gwyneth Paltrow who played Pepper Potts, but I don't know where you would put her because she's an Iron Man. She's Iron Man's love interest, and there's not going to be any Iron Man movies. I mean, I think you could probably put her. Like the only movie I think she would fit in is the Armor Wars movie because she's buddies with Rhodey, Wolverine. But outside of that, I don't know where else you could really put a character in. But yeah, I think she has a better chance that she'll be back someday out of Scarlett Johansson. But I'm not surprised that Scarlett Johansson won't be back as a Black Widow. The next thing I want to talk about is this news of a Transformers animated movie is going to focus on Cybertron of Optimus Prime and Megatron when they were friends before they became enemies. I'm really excited for this animated movie. I think that'd be cool to explore. It kind of reminds me of X-Men First Class, where you explored the whole Magneto and Charles friendship before they became enemies. I think that's a cool story you could really explore. I mean, I'd love to see a live action, but I know they said they want to do anime because it would just cost so much to do a live action review of that storyline, and I definitely get that. So, I mean, I can definitely understand that, but it would have been cool to see a live action. But I am excited for this animated movie. And I just want to make an announcement here. With CinemaCon this week, and like with this week, I'm gonna try to put videos of like trailers that release because you're gonna have all this. I know you're gonna have all the studios here, Paramount, Disney, Lionsgate, all the big studios. We do presentations, Sony. So I'm gonna put up like movie topics days off that maybe if they release some trailers, I'll talk about that. Maybe I'll like put up some videos on my days that I'm out off. But yeah, I'm excited for CinemaCon this week, so I'm gonna try to put up some videos covering like the trailers that are released. If there's any like big news stuff this week about CinemaCon, That's probably was my topic videos this week. And I'm also just excited for similar kind of week because of Screen of Glass. And I'm excited for that movie. I'm excited to hear what people are going to, how people are going to react to that movie when it comes out. To hear hear the response to it because I can't wait for that movie. Whatever your feelings are towards Ezra Miller, and I'm not a fan of him, but to me, there's thousands of other people that worked in that movie, and I've loved the trailers so far for it, and it's one of my most anticipated comic book movies. But yeah, I'm excited for SimilarCon this week, and like I said, I'm gonna try to put out videos if there's some big news or trailers that come out. Until next time, movie fans.